Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the His and Hers, the Truth podcast. This is my beautiful wife.
Sim, great seeing everyone, and welcome to our channel.
Yep, welcome back, you guys. My name is Tuan, and of course, welcome new viewers. Thank you for joining us if you've never watched our videos before. However, as we always state, if you guys have been to our channel before and have watched more than one of our videos and have enjoyed our content or even commented, of course, right, guys, please subscribe. Quit shadow watching out there, right? Give us a huge smash on the like button. And, of course, turn on your notification bell because, as we always say, quit shadow watching because we know we're getting shadow banned, right? Guys, of course, watch the whole video, right? Until before that, don't share and comment yet, right? Watch the whole video and there's share and comment at the end of the video. And speaking of the video, honey, today's video is from our brother Chang Nation again. Guys, go check out his channel. He's in Nevada now, and I think he paired up with another channel. I think it was like Asian Amped. I think it's an Asian Amped. Amped Asian. Okay. Amped Asian, right? So, guys, go check out both of those channels. Go check out their content. They have a lot of Asian content talking about dating, relationships, modern. Now, I will say that their content isn't very truth or RP aware because they're still trying to figure it out. But I really believe that I think as my Asian brothers start progressing and start, one thing about Asians, right? We're very analytical. Right? Like we'll figure it out, right?
It takes time.
Right? It takes time, but we'll figure it out. We're kind of like, okay, hey, this is the problems. We know what the problem is. How do we come up with a solution, right? So we'll figure it out. And I believe my Asian brothers he's going to figure out what the truth really is, and they kind of figure out how to solve the answer, right? Okay, guys. So the title of the video that we're going to react to is which is better, being the token Asian
versus
or only having Asian only friends, right? Just being only in a group of just Asians only.
Okay.
All right.
Is it better to be the token Asian or only have Asian friends? So this question of token versus non-token is quite interesting, since on the one hand, it can be kind of cool to be the only Asian in the friend group. On the other hand, it can be nice to be around similar people who can relate to.
What is it like being an Asian dude in Wisconsin?
I was like surrounded by all white and black folks growing up my whole life, which is cool, but I'm not going to say I had an identity crisis. Because, I never really despised being Asian, But at the same time, I didn't really relate to anyone who I was hanging out with.
Okay, so what do you think about that? And not only will I ask you, honey, to talk from a generalized perspective, but I'll also ask you kind of like your own perspective, like how you grew up, right? Yeah. Because I think each one of us, and you guys out there as well, too, have your own little, different situations, right? So how did you grow up, and what do you think the generalized way that Asian people in America, of course, is grown up as?
Well, I grew up with, in my neighborhood, there was a lot of Caucasians. So I grew up with a lot of Caucasians, but I wasn't like just the only token, Asian girl there. And then, going to school, there are Asian, I made Asian friends too. So I was sort of the girl that blended in with everybody, I guess, because, my funny personality, bubbly personality.
But let me ask you this.
So I wasn't like the token on each side.
Yeah, but let me ask you this, and, and I want to keep it bluntly. Were you more of like the traditional, for lack of better words, Bobby Asian person growing up, or were you more of like the Americanized, westernized?
It's more Americanized. They would call me the, sort of like the blonde Asian or something because I sort of wasn't very Asian. I wasn't very traditional.
And how did you think?
I respected our culture.
And how did you think that happened? Was it because of the very first day of school? Did you just click automatically with a group of friends that were more like white, more like Americanized?
Yes, most of my few friends were white first. Okay, and then
but it was a school thing.
It was at school and neighborhood.
Okay,
our neighborhood, white people and So they weren't all Asians.
Yeah. And then what do you think about just overall as a generalized perspective? I mean, do you see that as you think the majority of Asian people growing up in America kind of experience the same thing? Or are they more like kind of like stick within their own Asian? Well,
the friends that I made, no, they had some Asian friends, but they were more... My Asian friends were more Americanized.
Did you see other Asian kids at your school, though, that might have been more of the traditional sense where they kind of stuck within their own communities?
Yeah.
Okay.
They talked. They mainly just did their Asian sort of like cliquish or Hispanic cliquish or some black cliquish or, you know what I mean? There's a few, but, the friends that I chose were more, all over. So they're like with white friends. mix.
Yeah.
Because my friends were all mixed growing up. Like we've got black, white, Hispanics, Asians. I was a blend.
Okay.
That's what they call me, like part of a blend.
So then I guess
blended with everybody.
Guess knowing your experience, but then also seeing what other people, other Asian people in your school experience, which one do you think, I wouldn't say is better, but just I guess which one would you say would be the more preferred one? Do you think, would you be the one like yourself where it was more Asian American and you're like kind of in a way the token Asian person? Or is it more like, better to be kind of traditional or fobby and just hang around with a bunch of just Asian?
I wouldn't be considered fobby Asian.
No, but I'm just saying in terms of your experience, would you call which one would be the better?
I don't know. I mean, you go back home and you have your siblings. They had more of an Asian friends, and then for me, I was just a blend. So I can't, when I would say, yeah, I'd be more Americanized Asian because,
Yeah. So I'm gonna talk
I'm
about
more outspoken.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say my experience was very similar to yours. Like, so obviously growing up, I only hung out with more Americanized friends because let's be honest, guys, a lot of Asians that came from my wife and I's generation, which was Gen X, like we always talking about, we came from war-torn countries, right? So in essence, you were displaced. Right, you were living. Your family was living in the homeland,
but we're young,
and then
we don't
we're young
have that
enough.
memory.
We're young enough. Well, at least you and I were
don't
young
have that
enough, right?
memory.
That we didn't have that memory of the old world, right? We didn't build friends yet.
I grew up here,
and so we grew up here, exactly. But we were displaced, right? So it's not like you had like a sense of culture yet, 100%, right? Whereas maybe some of our older siblings did, and they spoke the language, and so it might have been a little bit harder for them to meet with Americanized friends. But regardless, the point what I'm saying is that we were displaced.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for the majority of us, we were displaced in cities or states. And this is just in general, right? Because Asians are still only like 5%, 6% of the population. Okay. So in general, we were displaced in situations where we're not the majority. If anything, we might be the only token Asian, right? That's the truth, right? And then, of course, there might be one or two others throughout the years, but for the most part, we were stereotypically always the token Asian family, right? Or maybe just a handful of some, okay? And then especially, this is the other thing, too, that's key, the Asians, we are still separated by the different ethnicities. Was there some Japanese kids in my school? Yes. Was there some Chinese kids in my school? But because of the way we're separated as Asian races, we don't really talk to the Chinese kids or the Japanese kids, right? So we're not going to talk to them because there's no familiarity. So it's no different than us like talking to a white kid or a black kid because there's really no similarity.
Well, I don't know about you, but I did. I made friends that were Japanese.
I get it. Like if it clicks,
Chinese.
The point is if it clicks, right? But it doesn't mean that like we're automatically gravitating drawn into them because they, oh my God, you're Vietnamese? Oh, I'm too. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like you're not going to get that because of the way our separation of our
I was
Asian,
Miss Bubbly,
right?
So
so I guess what I'm trying to say is, would I prefer us to be the token Asian or the Asian versus Asian? There's pros and cons to each situation, right? And just like the guy that they interviewed at the end, he had a very similar situation with us, which is like, hey, we're put in a place where there really wasn't that many Asian people. I was always the person kind of the outcast, not in a bad way, but I don't want to use outcast as a bad way, but you're the token Asian person, right? Like there's no other Asian people around you. So I think the good thing about it is because regardless of how we feel about it, right, we're growing up in a Western society.
Yeah.
We're no longer back in the homeland. To excel in this Western society, you got to adapt to this Western society, right? Now, yes, there's going to be some cons with that. You're going to lose some of your culture. You might lose your language, like obviously I did.
I didn't.
Okay. Doesn't mean you're going to have to, but I did, right? But the upside is that you're going to learn how to navigate this globalized world. And why I'm bringing that to a point, because of course, it relates to our channel. And of course, it relates to kind of what's going on now with the struggles that the Asian men are having now, right? Is that we are living in a globalized society now.
Yeah.
We're not living in our pockets of the Asian countries anymore. And I would say to an extent, even the Asian countries are falling in that respect, right? They have social media, they have Instagram, you know, the Asian culture is no longer going to be a thing, I would say, in the next few decades, right? Unless for whatever reason there was just this
Preserve.
huge, this huge thing where people would just regress. But guys, we're not going back. We're not going back to the old ways where it's like, hey, woman, you know, be in the damn kitchen and freaking just, we're not doing that, regardless of how much that might be the best situation to raise a family. It's not going to happen. So you're going to have a bunch of women that believe in the feminist ideals, and you're going to have a lot, unfortunately, unless we change our ways, our Asian brothers,
So balance.
we're going to have a lot of Asian men who still believe in the old traditional ways, and we're going to not get the results that we want.
Yep.
Okay, so as much as it pains me to say that, you know, it would be nice if we were back into like an Asian-esque society where we're like all hanging out with Asian-only friends. It's not going to work out that way
You
because
just have to balance.
because the viewpoints, we don't, like I said, we keep making this an ethnicity thing,
No.
but it's an ideology thing.
Yeah.
The traditional ideology is changing, and you can see that now with our kids, right? You can see this now with this up and coming Gen Z, millennials, right? They don't believe in the traditional Asian cultures anymore. If you ask a millennial or a tradition or a Gen Z Asian person now, they're gonna spout all these Western feminist freaking woke viewpoints to you. 100%. The majority of them are going to say that. They're not going to be like, oh, yeah, the man's the leader of the household and the woman's got to stay home and freaking be the mom. Like, they're not going to say that crap. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, women can do just as much as men can, right? Women can freaking be a boss babe, too. You know, an insecure man would freaking not want his woman to go out, right? They're going to say all this freaking BS bullshit that has nothing to do with the truth, right?
Yeah.
Because they've been led to believe in this ideology. So
Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to say is being the token Asian isn't too bad as long, or the same thing when it comes to being a quote unquote fobby Asian and having just a bunch of Asian friends,
Yeah.
as long as you understand the truth.
Yeah.
As long as you understand what the purpose is, and as long as you understand what the values are needed to get the truth, it doesn't matter if you hang out with Asians only, or it doesn't matter if you only hang out with white, black, Hispanic people.
Doesn't matter.
You're gonna get the outcomes that you want if you just focus on the values and the truth that it needs, right?
Believe in yourself and just up your game.
Yeah, because you could be a token Asian dude, but if you're freaking 5'4", goofy, out of
Insecure.
shape, you're gonna be like that stereotypical, freaking joke, comedy
FOB,
joke.
Bob.
Yeah, exactly. That they show on social media, right? But if you're a 6'1", 6'2", freaking,
Dress nice.
Chad, freaking, in shape and freaking, you're gonna get all the chicks liking you too. So it doesn't matter if you're token or not, right?
Yep.
And same thing if you're in the freaking situation where you're just all Asian dudes. Who do you think those Asian chicks are gonna like the best?
The guy's
the
outgoing.
6'1" K-pop looking star dude, or some freaking 5'4" goofy looking dude? Our Asian sisters are women, just like white women are women or black women are women. They're gonna want the best value men.
Women attract to the guy that stands out. So if
Correct.
you're standing out, doesn't matter who you are, they're gonna go. You might be outgoing, you might, be this, and if you're upping your game, they're gonna go. It's a natural selection. It's a natural reaction for a woman to go to someone who's successful.
And we see this all the time. A language isn't even a barrier. How many women love freaking French dudes because they speak sexy, right?
And they don't even
They don't
understand.
understand one damn word.
Nope.
Or a Spanish dude, right? My Latin lovers out there, my brothers,
Yeah.
that are freaking Latin lovers. These women don't care if you don't freaking speak freaking English.
Yeah.
If you're freaking sexy, freaking Enrique Iglesias looking fool, they're gonna freaking like you too. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So language is not even a barrier. Ethnicity is not even a freaking barrier. It's just your values that's a barrier.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. Okay, so yeah, good video. I don't think it really matters at the end of the day.
Nope.
Each one of those situations has their pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
I would only say that being an only Asian friend group has to me, and I guess I could research this more for you guys if you guys want me to, but I think though that situation is actually more of a negative than being the token Asian guy.
Yeah.
Because at least the token Asian guy, you're seeing the competition. Everyone around you is a competitor. This is how we live in this world where we're all competing, right? And so if you see what the white man has to offer, what the black man has to offer, my Hispanic brothers have to offer, and you're as the Asian brother, you're going to see, hey, it's because they bring these values, and if you don't like bring this, equal or higher value, you're gonna get left in the dust.
Yep.
Right.
And you don't want to bite the dust.
So I would rather be in that situation where I'm kind of put to the test instead of being kind of in a freaking vacuum where it's just like we're all just, believing in ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're a good Asian dude. You follow your parents. You make, you go become a doctor.
It's not going
right?
to be that way, guys. They want more.
You get thrown out in the real world, and this is the problem. I think a lot of my Asian brothers that are failing, but hey, guys, respond to this video, talk about it. I think a lot of my Asian brothers that are failing, unfortunately, you guys are stuck in this small vacuum world. You're just hanging around with your Asian buddies, and you guys are just saying the same old BS, like, oh, my Asian sisters are just loose. They only like white guys. You're just giving every excuse for yourself, and instead of just looking at the reality.
Look yourself in the mirror. Just go stand in front of the mirror and look at yourself. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, if you're like 6 feet tall or not 6 feet tall, look at yourself. How are you carrying yourself? Are you standing up straight? Do you look like you're working out, or do you look like you're distressed? Smell yourself. Smell your clothes. Smell yourself, dude. I mean, if you look at yourself and you can see that same person of and if you're agreeing what we're telling you, hey, you might be successful. Maybe you're a doctor, but look at yourself. Okay. Well, you're not upkeep. Your hair's messy. Your eyes look like it's, half not sleep. I understand doctors work hard, but you know what? You can still try to upkeep yourself a little bit, and if you guys aren't, you're trying to get there, but look at yourself and you're overweight or you're not dressed well. And, you see that, hey, we're trying to give you, that's why we're the Truth Podcast. We're trying to give you advice that would wake you up and get yourself better.
I will say this thing. The only way I'm going to approve this moving forward, and my Asian brothers, let's get together and do this. The only way I'm going to approve this moving forward is if we get a group of Asian men who are striving to become higher value and become better Asian men. And we create this group where we're promoting it and we're freaking making other Asian men better and changing the stereotype of us being low value Asian men. That is when I'll approve that, hey, we just stick within our vacuum and in our bubble. And obviously, but of course, we're not going to stick in our bubble, right? We're going to go out there and look, date other women. We're going to go out there and talk to other men, right? Because high value men are going to go out there and talk to people and be outgoing and be confident. I'm just saying that's the only group I would approve of us that, trying to work together to become better, right? So guys, hey, hit me up. All my Asian brothers out there wants to freaking join this channel, maybe get interviewed or whatever, reach out to us. But let's create this group of high value Asian men, and hopefully we can change the stereotype.
Yep.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Join you guys next time.
Bye.
Join us as we give you guys a glimpse into our lives, give you guys advice, hopefully give you guys entertainment value as well too, and provide you guys better outcomes.
Yes.